Yeah, so I grew up in Miami. One of my first jobs was working for Bloomingdale's. I got an internship in PR, and I would do all their PR and marketing. And then over the summers, I would intern at the Miami Merchandise Mart. And that was when the Merchandise Mart was really cool. And I got to work with lines like Catherine Malandrino and Vivian Tam and Diane von Furstenberg. And those were the bread and butter of, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s. Those are the designers that you wanted to be with. So that's where I started. Well, that's kind of an interesting story. When I moved back down here from college, I got a job opening the new Neiman Marcus in Coral Gables. And I was in charge of setting it up and doing everything for the store. And I became a specialist on the sales floor, and then also worked with all the store displays and merchandising and all of that. And it was treacherous. I had to go in stockings every day and high heels, and I was working till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I left that job and I started working for a store that's actually a couple doors down from my store now. And I saw that they were selling these amazing jewelry pieces, and I was like, I think I can do that. So I went to a couple stores, I bought supplies, and I sold my first pair of earrings for $395, which was a lot back then, literally the next day. And from there, I got into 80 accounts in the United States, including Fred Siegel, Henry Benzel, like all the coolest stores. And yeah, Jenna White was created, and it was a jewelry brand. It wasn't a clothing store at that time. Well, my parents actually came to me and told me about a spot that their friends owned in South Miami, and it was a new building. And did I want to open a store? Well, I said yes, not knowing anything that I was doing. I was 20 years old at the time, and from scratch I had to build out that spot. There were no walls, there was no floor. Like, I had to pour the concrete. I was there every day at 6 in the morning designing it and kind of coming up with the concept. So originally it was just gonna be a jewelry store with Jenna White jewelry in it, and maybe some handbags and maybe a couple pieces of clothing and some designers I liked. And I opened it within 6 months. It was doing awesome, and I realized that instead of making every little piece by hand, I was able to create an entire store of goodies. So after about a year, I kind of phased out of Jenna White jewelry, and I brought in all these incredible designers, and you know, I was working with trunk shows and events, and Jenna White kind of became a household name in the area. Well, I think I have the coolest clientele. They kind of come here for an elevated style. It's not a tourist, it's not a one time shop, it's the people that keep coming back. I've had clients that started shopping with me in middle school, worked for me when they were in high school, and now are married with 3 children. So it kind of all comes full circle with my clients. You know, I have clients that come in here whose kids, you know, are little, and then they grow up and now their kids are shopping with me. So that is really cool. My clients also know that like everything in here is like hand-tailored, hand-picked for them. I do all the buying, and I'm always in store, which makes things really different than when you go into other stores, because they know that I'm styling them. They know that I'm choosing things for them, for their body. They know I'm gonna tell them when something looks like crap on them. They know that I'm not gonna let them walk out of here not looking perfect. So that is like a big draw to the store, knowing that you're gonna be styled by me, and knowing that you're gonna be styled by someone that can relate to you, and that you're not walking to in a store with a high-end clientele and you're being styled by an 18-year-old kid that has a job for the summer. It's like very cool to come into somewhere and have the person that's selling it to you know about what they're selling and why it's special and what makes it unique. So I love buying designers that have a very distinct point of view. I want to have a designer in here that doesn't just create like 10 pieces a season. I want it to be an entire collection. What's really different about this store compared to other stores is that I buy very, very deep into collections. So a lot of stores will carry like anywhere from 3 to like 10 styles a season. Whereas if you're coming in here and you're a Ulla Johnson fan, let's say, I'll carry 15 to 25 styles a season. So you'll really get to see a very broad range of what that designer does, and you can see how they evolve, you can see how they style more. Like, it's not just one option. The other big difference is department stores kind of all buy the same thing. When you go on these buying trips, you are in a showroom and you have someone just like flipping you the pieces, and they're like, this is our number 1, this is our number 2, this don't buy in this color, get this in this color. And the things that they tell me to buy are the things that I am least likely to buy, because that's the stuff that you're gonna see at every single place. I wanna get the stuff that I can see in a different way, or that my clients can see in a different way, or when I do my buy, I think about all my clients that come in here every day. So my buy is always very, very different than what you would see somewhere else. Well, it didn't just change my business, it kind of changed my entire mind frame. So after 17 years, I did not go into my store once during COVID. I was like a total freak. I stayed at home, but what I did was evolve the entire Instagram business. So every day I would post on stories, I would make sales, we would drop off at everyone's doorstep, we would ship out 100 times a day. We moved like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces those first couple months of COVID, which was crazy. And I realized that Instagram is like the greatest platform for business. It's free, and you can kind of be creative with it and make it a store within a store. So still to this day, every day I post on stories. I post all the new arrivals, so I'll give my point of view. You can buy on Instagram, we ship worldwide. So that's like, it's become like a whole new business in itself, and it's also become kind of a creative outlet for me. The other way that COVID changed my business is that I used to always want more, and I always used to want to expand and do more, and I'm going to open this store and I'm going to do that. And now I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm really happy with what I have, and I don't want to spread myself thin. I want to be able to be here every day while my son is at school. I want to be able to have the hours I want. I want to be able to close on a Saturday if I need to go to a soccer game of my son's. And South Miami has really allowed me to do that, and so has my clientele. So that's been kind of like a blessing of COVID in a way, that it made me appreciate what I have and just be content doing this and not having to always expand and do more and more and more. Well, I love doing events. So like we always have like a big Veronica Beer trunk show every year. We work with tons of jewelry designers, and we always have them come in and do, you know, big jewelry events with fine and costume jewelry, which is always really fun. I always kind of throw events together last minute and just want to have a good time with people. It's not really about the buying as much as it is just connecting with clients at that point. But yeah, we're bringing in like a bunch of new clothing designers for Resort 22. I'm about to do the buy for Spring 23. And the home is all being revamped. I'm very excited about that. So we carry a lot of like very high-end designer home. And when I say designer, like I try to do it like a fashion designer home. So incorporate the clothing and the fashion design in the home. So we have Missoni in here, we have Fornasetti, we have AVF Home, and a bunch of other designers. And come right before the holidays, we'll have a bunch more coming and a lot new to uncover. Well, I have a 12-and-a-half-year-old son who's in 7th grade, so I am a soccer mom. I go to soccer 3 nights a week and then every weekend, but when I'm not doing soccer, I'm a little bit cooler. Actually not that much cooler. I love traveling, so like I love planning crazy trips. I always get inspired on my trips. I mean, South Miami is the coolest. Ever since I was probably 14 or 15 years old, I grew up shopping here, and there were always the best stores, the coolest designers, stuff you couldn't find anywhere, amazing jewelry, amazing bags. I mean, it was the best. And it really never got any clout because no one in South Miami paid for advertising. It wasn't like a Miami Beach or a South Beach. It was more of like this hidden gem where the real shoppers always came. And it's more like a lot of single family homes and not hotels. So when you go to South Miami, it was like very boutique-y, very homey. You knew all the owners of the stores, and that was what was so appealing to me.